Hey y'all, it's Brandon with Voodoo Forge. Now the gas forges in Granville are ready to go at this point, but I need some heat shield for behind the forges. So this is kind of how I figured out how to do that. So let's get what we're using for a heat shield. This is corrugated steel roofing, and yeah, it's galvanized. We'll talk about it. I know, it's galvanized. And somebody is about to start hollering about, if you heat that galvanized stuff, it'll give you metal fume fever and da-da-da-da-da. This is going to be behind the forge, just keeping the heat off the wall. If it gets so hot that it starts burning that zinc off of it, the building's on fire. So we'll have bigger problems than the zinc in the air. We'll have, the building being on fire. So, not an issue. Shouldn't be an issue. If it turns out to be an issue, I will make a retractory video. But I don't think it's going to be. This is the plan. I'm going to draw you a master diagram here. Here's the wall. Here's the workbench where the forge will be. Okay? So behind the forge, I'm going to put a bracket here that's 3 inches long and here that is 4 inches long. Not to scale. Our tin will be mounted to these brackets so that air can come into the bottom and go up through the top, and it'll dissipate the heat and the building won't catch on fire. That's how it works in my mind. I already got my 4-inch and 3-inch pieces of pipe cut. That's what's going to be the standoff part of the brackets. And then I will weld some nuts into the end of the pipe. But I've got to have the flats that these sit on, and I got to get that cut up right now. Here. All right, we've got the material cut. I know some of them are a little crooked. I don't know whether that's me or this DeWalt Portaband, probably me. But sometimes I get a little wonky with it if I'm not really concentrating. Now what we've got to do next is completely unnecessary, but Granville is a museum shop, so we're going to throw it in the forge and put some little decorative ends on it real quick. Just, kind of for... We're just making the cross beam and putting some texture on the end of these pieces, just to give it some character. That's it. Nothing major. So the plan is to mount the pipes on one end and have a couple of holes on the other for mounting to the wall. It does not have to be perfect. So let me center punch these and I'll get them drilled out. I got into a few of these nuts with the weld, so I'm just making sure the threads are good on them before I finish welding this up. Doesn't need a lot, but it's enough to be obnoxious. Now here is the master plan for attaching these. Attack them, eyeball them, and run a bead. Okay, so this is where we want to put the first heat shield. So I'm going to have to get these nails down and then figure it out. I probably should have cut this in my shop, but I wanted to make sure I cut it the right length. So I'm cutting this in half. Each piece will be 4 foot long. And I've turned the blade around on the circular saw. You should be able to cut steel this thin using that. So let's see how that goes. That works great. Now I'm just going to deburr this real quick with a flat. Tell you what, I am wishing I brought a clamp with me, but I didn't. I've marked where my brackets will go. That'll leave me enough. Fine. Got the holes drilled in this one, so I'm going to bolt the brackets on right now. Well, Kevin's up there and somehow I managed to not record it. It's okay. And as the other one, I'm just kind of holding it up and eyeballing it. Screw in crooked for some reason. There she is. The idea behind these heat shields isn't to like insulate it. It just gives it something to catch the heat and catch it off the wall. And the gap between the heat shield and the wall should make it to where the heat dissipates and doesn't heat up the wall. So there it is, they're both up. We use this galvanized material because that way it doesn't really take away from the natural aesthetic of the shop, but it should help keep the shop safe. So that's it. We've got them both up. We can now run 2 gas forges in the Granville shop for classes, which is good news. And I believe we've got room for a 3rd, which is better news. So what y'all think about this? What do you use when you're running a gas forge inside? There's a chicken in the shop, again, because that's the new normal. They talk about the new normal. My new normal is a chicken in the shop every time I try to do anything. Anyway, what do you use for a heat shield in your shop? Do you use a heat shield in your shop? Do you just take your forge outside? If so, where do you live where that's possible all the time? But anyway, I hope y'all got something out of this and y'all behave yourselves. I got a nut sitting on here, so I'm just gonna tack this on. I'm just gonna tack it on. Yeah. That should be all that needs. I don't. Did we mess the threads up on that side? Yes, we did. Do I have a 3/8 tap? Dadgummit.